let's give it a few moments so that people can tune in.
Sun tarvii niistä vaan painat tosta.
Okay. Okay. Let's give it a little bit more so that we get all the right people for this session. All right, let's begin. So this is the third session on Bodhicitta, heart mind of enlightenment. So we have been workshopping, contemplating this compassionate heart-mind quality for the previous 2 Tuesdays, and we will continue at least 2 more sessions, this one and then one next week. The first time 2 weeks ago when we started on Bodhicitta, I was giving a brief explanation of what Bodhicitta means, what is the meaning of it, because it's so central to Mahayana and therefore also Vajrayana Buddhism and open heart. In open heart we practice Vajrayana. So I was talking about that a little bit, as well as outlining the importance and meaning of bodhicitta, compassion and care of the liberation of others in the context of our practice. So if we are not fully attained in perfect awareness, then we are not Buddhas, but we are samsaric beings. So compassion, cultivating bodhicitta is a direct means to access this fully awakened, fully enlightened heart-mind, bodhicitta, which is Buddha nature, in other words. So then in second session a week ago, in the first session I already introduced the Abahu Mani mantra, which we also practiced last week. But last week, before we went into the mantra, which is a version of Mani mantra, the famous Om Mani Padme Hum, we also did some workshopping with visualization. And in this session I was thinking of pretty much starting from from the workshop, that we went through last time, but doing it in a bit different way, so that hopefully you who are watching this live or watching the recording later can have a different, maybe not different perspective, but a different kind of understanding what that bodhicitta, what that compassion actually is and what it does. So this is what I usually do. This is my style of teaching. I'm not a scholar or an academic, so I never give lengthy lectures on classics and books and tantras and so on. What I prefer to do, since as modern Westerners, probably also Easterners these days, we have limited time for practice, and this is why I personally feel that I want my students and other people who are joining these sessions or doing practices what I teach, that they get a taste of it as soon as possible, so that they don't need to, and you don't need to spend time just reading books. I certainly do not mean, by saying this, I don't mean that reading texts and classics and tantras is useless. Absolutely not. In fact, I encourage my students all the time to keep reading, keep getting educated about Buddhist Dharma, also other religions, get educated properly, get a round knowledge of Buddhist Dharma. So I think this is very, very important. It's just that personally I don't emphasize scriptural study that much, but emphasize yogic study. And this session also is pretty much about yogic study, or like I always say, yogic workshopping. And through this workshopping I hope that I will be able to convey you what this compassionate heart mind is, what bodhicitta is. So last time, by the way, if you didn't join the previous two sessions, I recommend you to go to YouTube after this session. You can find both of them recorded there. And also maybe even a preparation for those bodhicitta sessions. Earlier this year I was giving 4 sessions on knowing awareness, or rikpa, that is widely discussed and taught both in Orthodox Dzogchen teachings as well as Mahamudra in Tibetan Buddhism, but also that's the heart and soul of everything we do in open heart. So certainly recommend going through those sessions as well. Okay, so last time we did some preparation exercises where we first sat down, relaxed the body, put the spine upright, spend a good moment just relaxing, unwinding tensions of the body, and while doing that, knowing this relaxation. And then, if I remember correctly, we did used a moment for connecting the pillars above and below the body and joining those two pillars above and below the body in the body space. So let's do those two, and then from there I will guide through on this theme of bodhicitta. So please take a nice upright posture. Don't have any specific purpose of going into any kind of meditational state or state of quietude. If you already know what is meant with the word knowing or knowing awareness, rikpa, find that while relaxing. If you are a seasoned practitioner, you can decide whether you wish to have your eyes open or closed. If you are new to practice, I recommend shutting the eyes so that when the visual input doesn't come in, then it's easier to feel the body and energetic sensations in body, mind and heart. So the first couple of minutes, you just let the tensions melt. You let the body unwind. We can think of, or that's how it feels anyway, when we have been busy and there has been stress on the physical body and stress on the mind through activities, through work. It feels like the body is sort of like rubber bands that have been tied into knots, K-N-O-T, knots. So it's sort of like this body is like an elastic, one big rubber band that has small knots in it. And we simply let these knots unwind so that the elastic organic body experience less stress. Letting tensions unwind in the area of the whole physical body. And giving some special attention to the area in the belly, around, inside the belly. Relaxing the shoulder line from shoulder to shoulder, which also relaxes the tensions in the chest. Also, when shoulders relax, they sink down. And when that happens, the movement of the breath settles into the belly. So that when you breathe, when breathing happens, it's not your chest that comes out and in. It's the belly that moves out and in. No need to manipulate or change the rhythm of the breath. You just let it flow in and out. Then relax the area of the mouth and jaws very deeply, thoroughly. Usually when we open the mouth, we open it like this, so that the jaws in the back of the mouth, they stick together. But try to relax the jaws like this, so that the back of the jaws also relaxes. You can kind of stretch it open from the back a few times. And then just leave it hanging. Teeth apart. Breathing in and out through the nose. Lips can be closed or slightly open. Relax the whole face, forehead, temples, cheeks, nose, and especially eyes. Eyeballs, the muscles around the eyes. Again, unwinding. Unwinding, opening. I use the word sink, sinking down. So as the body becomes more and more relaxed, it's like the tissues, soft tissues, sink down a little bit. So our skeletal structure, bones, are sitting in a good, firm, settled posture. But the soft tissues around the bones sink down in a subtle manner. It's sort of like if we look at some muscle externally, we can see the skin and we can see the shape of the muscle. Let's say, for example, the shoulder muscle. But inside that shoulder muscle, there is this sensation of relaxation and sinking because of this unwinding. So this sensation of sinking should be there in the whole body. So we relax the belly, shoulders, chest, and then mouth and face. Then also relax, let the brain unwind. Brain, both hemispheres, from the forehead to the back of the head. So you don't do anything with the brain or to the brain, you just let it open. You just let it relax while being aware of the brain. You know, any sensation in the area where the brain is located. Do this properly, and your mind will become very calm. Also, when we relax the jaws well, the inner chatter, the inner radio that is constantly thinking, planning stuff, that takes a break. Depending how purified one's mind is, that break is longer and longer, or shorter if you have a lot of stuff in your mind. let the brain unwind for a moment. From the forehead all the way over the crown to the back of the head, also the sides of the head. Back of the head means this below the edge of the skull, the back of the head. Quite nice. So again, during this whole time we've been doing this exercise, there has been this basic knowing at the basis of this relaxation, at the basis of being attentive of relaxation. I repeat that. There has been a very natural knowing or knowing awareness at the basis of being attentive of relaxation happening in the body, in the belly, in the jaws, in the brain, in the head. This basic knowing has been there all the time. Do you understand what this basic knowing awareness, what is meant with it? So this basic knowing refers to the so-called natural state or awakened state, wakeful mind, wakeful nature, or you can as well say ordinary state, ordinary mind, or zero state, zero mind, where we are nothing and everything is nothing. But this nothing is not meaningless. It's rich with life. It's very life positive. This zero is emotionally positive. It is positive when it affects inside the human body-mind, when it inhabits the human body-mind, the so-called basic state, or Buddha nature. That's it. This is it. So, I was talking about samsara, and anyone who has studied Buddhist teachings a little bit know this basic idea that we are entangled into this knot, K-N-O-T, this knot of self or selfing. In Open Heart we discuss mainly three types of selves. There is the subject self, which is the me or I, me-ness. There are the object selves, which refers to different habit patterns of mentation, mental habits, as well as emotional habits, emotional states. So we have subject self or me, I, and then all these thought and emotional habits that the I identifies with. So we have subject self and object selves, that thoughts and emotions that keep bubbling or welling up from the subconscious mind or substrate consciousness, substrate mind. This substrate is called alaya vijnana in Buddhist theory, kunzi in Tibetan. So we have these thought forms that are charged with a sense of meanness, selfness, and then we have this vague fogginess that doesn't really have a form. It's like this fog in our energetic body, in our mind, that clearly is an obscuration to our natural state, but it doesn't have a clearly definable form. It's kind of this fog, like mist, like grey mist. And by the way, this mist, this fog, is the reason why people suffer of depression. People who are depressed, they don't have problems with a lot of thoughts, they are not restless in that way, they are just paralyzed in this mud or fog. And this mud or fog is substrate consciousness, substrate mind. So the reason why I'm talking about this is that these elements are the main building blocks of confusion and unsatisfactoriness. Unsatisfactoriness or suffering is widely discussed by Buddhist teachers. So, because there is this investment in these thoughts of various kinds and this substrate fog, investment of self in there, this is why we are confused. We don't know who we really are, and it makes us very dissatisfied, confused about who we are, where we are, and what we are meant to do. And when this happens, it encloses us, our mind, made of these thoughts, emotions, thought processes, and that vague fog, it encapsulates us. It energetically and mentally, emotionally, energetically, it encapsulates us inside this sort of like a bubble. And this bubble is aura. It's what aura means. Well, that's one interpretation of what aura means. But in tantric yogas, we think in terms of energy channels and energy centers. So we have energy centers and energy channels in the space inside the body, not in the physical space, in the subtle space inside the body, and also centers and channels in the subtle space around our body, in the aura, energy field. So now as we are workshopping on Bodhicitta, let's burst this bubble with the means of Bodhicitta, by showing care, expressing care, not only for our own liberation, but for the liberation of all sentient beings. All sentient means that all beings that are intelligent, or life that is alive, or life that is intelligent. So first feel your body, and a little bit, well, not little bit, but feel also the space around, in the immediate surroundings of your physical body. Let's say 1 meter, 1.5 meters from the skin. On the left and right sides of your body, in front of your body, behind your body, below your body, above your body. This immediate space around your physical body. So this is the bubble, is the field of cultivation that all yogis, all meditators work with. So it is the sense of self, me-ness, I-ness, in various kind of forms, and this formless fog that we are trying to clean from our mind, regardless which type of meditation we practice. Even beyond Buddhism, it doesn't matter. This is what we're dealing with because this is what our mind is. And Buddhism specifically uses the so-called vipassana or clear seeing or supreme seeing technique or analytical meditation in illuminating, in liberating the sense of self from this mind. So feel your body and the space around the body in a more sensitive manner, more subtly, as if you are fine-tuning more into your energy body. And now, simply introduce the basic short Bodhicitta prayer that we in open heart cultivate and pray in our daily practice. May all beings be free. Those 5 words. Sing them in your mind. Simply do that. You don't have to make it expansive. You just start wishing it, praying it, generating it. May all beings be free. I'm chanting now aloud what you can do mentally in your mind. May all beings be free. 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 Now let it stop for a moment. Now feel your body-mind. You don't have to do anything. Just being aware. Just know what happens in your subtle body, in your mind, in your energy field. Simply feel. This is not rocket science. First-hand yogic experimenting. What are you feeling now? What kind of sensations? What kind of opening and where? What kind of sensations are there in your physical body? In what place or places in the physical body? How about the condition of the aura? Or even beyond aura. Beyond meaning beyond that bubble, beyond that sphere. I'll come back to this after we finish the second round of chanting. Now let's make it a little bit more clearer by doing this prayer again. May all beings be free. A couple of minutes. I'll chant and you can join with me. May all beings be free. 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 Now stop saying the prayer and again feel. What happens when we cultivate compassion, when we cultivate care? Show care so that all beings can be free of samsara. So what is the change to a moment ago? You probably feel that your heart feels more warm, like more soft, more loving, more kind, more open, while your mind related to the headspace is clearer. Your head, your mind seems clearer. Even your physical eyesight might become sharper, clearer. And then energy body in other places inside the physical body as well as in the energy field, feels more unobstructed, like open space, not stuff hindering it, obstructing it. And also, do you notice how the edge of the bubble, the edge of the aura, seems to disappear? Can you detect that? So the bubble becomes burst. It's not that our aura with all those channels and centers disappears. It's just that we switch mode. We are no longer in the self-immersed, self-based mode. Instead, this light, warm, soft, clear, natural mode, if you like, reveals itself. Let it simmer a little bit. Now that we have revealed this natural condition, what if I suggested to you that instead of praying for the liberation of and freedom of all beings, freedom in having the existential meaning, what if I suggested to you that instead we would pray and practice only for our own sake? What if we prayed and practiced only for our own sake, disregarding others? How does that idea sound and feel like? I am practicing only for my own freedom, only for my own liberation. It doesn't feel so good, does it? It's sort of like the whole idea tastes bad, doesn't feel good. But then, what if we go back to praying, meditating, practicing, and helping others? I am practicing to fully establish my awakened nature in this body and mind, for the sake of all sentient beings caught in the wheel of confusion. I am practicing for all sentient beings. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. And there it is again. It's this. Well, of course, there is also some benefit in practicing only for the sake of oneself, but that is still very limited, the effect, the benefit of such motivation. But when we have this Mahayana Bodhicitta, Mahayana Buddhist motivation, compassionate motivation to practice and dedicate our practice, dedicate our merit for all sentient beings, then this richness comes in. This richness, this deliciousness, it starts to taste good, very good, doesn't it? Why is that? That's a good question. So, behind me, you can see, I will move the camera a little bit. Behind me, you can see a painting of a deity called Tara, white Tara. I'm showing this painting in case if there are people joining who haven't seen such paintings before. So you can see the figure of Tara in the middle, having a white body, a female body with the color of white. And around her you can see the halo, a sphere around her head, and also the large sphere around her body. And all deities have these same spheres or shapes around their bodies and heads. So that's aura, energy field, vibrational field. So as I said, with our mind we are in this bubble, and the more confused we are, more there is self invested in our mind. The more there is self, meanness, invested in our mind, the more we are selfish, the more we are enclosed inside this bubble. So I was talking that yogis and especially tantrics who do energy work, tantric yoga, we work with channels and centers. So always in tankas, in paintings, you can see deities or gurus, they have this aura that is filled with thin tubes, thin channels. So if we are in samsaric condition that we more or less are, and if we don't practice, we are in it more, inevitably, then we are enclosed inside this bubble. We are shut off from the surroundings. And when we cultivate bodhicitta in the form of prayer, such like the one we just did, or doing any deity practice, what happens is that it shoots out energy through the channels and centers outwards. 360 degrees, our energy field, it shoots out energy outwards. It's sort of like flushing with like a strong, how do you say, like a water hose, putting a strong water pressure through a hose, or in this case, numerous channels, numerous little hoses. So it flushes out stuff. And you already experience through this workshop what it means, what is the meaning and depth of this cultivation of bodhicitta. It cleans, clears this sense of self. It rubs it off and makes us connected, makes us natural. And that's actually a curious point. It makes us connected and natural, which is the same thing. Being natural means being connected, not being disconnected from others, from life, from sentience. Isn't that interesting? So when we are in samsaric reaction, I mentioned depression. When we are in depression, we are totally cut off, shut, in a state of being shut. When we experience fear, certainly, again, we are not connected with our surroundings. We are not able to discuss, converse, be in connection with other people. And it's the same thing with all these samsaric mind states. It's the same story. On and on and on and on. Going around, samsara. So this is why we cultivate bodhicitta in Buddhist yoga. In Christian terms, I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact quotes, but it is said in the Bible to love thy neighbor. And I'm sure it is said in different ways in many other places in the Bible and in Christian teachings. Just like it's said in Hindu teachings and teachings of all major religions. You do not shut yourself, or you do not just become sectarian, not doing only for your own sake or for the sake of your own group of people, for all people, because this is the natural state. All beings have Buddha nature. All human beings have Buddha nature. People in all shapes and forms. People of all colors have this awakened nature. So this is why the emphasis on bodhicitta. I'm sorry, I've been babbling here for too much. Let's continue being connected silently for a few minutes before the concluding prayers. You can, if you don't remember the prayers by heart, you can go to the English version of Open Heart website, Open Heart Info, Introduction, Practice, and go to the bottom of the page. May all beings be free. So let's finish by chanting the relative and absolute refuge, then relative and absolute bodhicitta, and finally dedication of merit. Me. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in his pure land. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Feel the prayer, feel the refuge, feel the energy, the mind of it. Simply feel it with your body. Allow your body to feel it. When the body feels it, your heart feels it, your mind knows it and recognizes it. Then absolute refuge. I am the Guru. I'm in the pure land. I am the Buddha. I am the Dharma. I am the Sangha. I am the Guru. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. All beings are free. All beings are free. All beings are free. May all beings receive my accumulated merit. I dedicate the merit to the refuge and to all sentient beings. Then, as a gesture of sincerity and honesty, join your hands and make a bow. Okay, so this was the third session on Bodhicitta. Unfortunately, Facebook webcasts don't allow me to see the participants, you at the other end of the receiver, but I can feel something that you are having the same experiences that I am. So this is a nice to feel that you are also doing the same practices and getting the same benefits that in fact numerous generations of yogis and yoginis have gotten. So we will continue on Bodhicitta next week, next Tuesday. Welcome also then. And I think that next time we will return to Abahu Money Mantra. By the way, if you have questions or comments, something you would like me to address next week or on these Tuesday sessions, feel free to post them to in this Facebook group, openheart.fi, and I will see them there. So thank you very much everyone for joining, tuning in, and practicing for the sake of all beings. Thank you very much. See you next week.